Hello everybody, this is your good buddy Djclyve, the RANMA 1/2 character profile guy, sitting alongside my pet. Of course you know her as Lexi. I like to call her Piddlins, but she's sitting here in her little bed next to me, looking all cute and breathing a sigh of relief. She loves having me home because I'm on vacation this week and finally I have nothing to do, so I've been using this week to my advantage to do a lot of RANMA themed projects. And this is the first of many. Actually, we're watching the old version of Shirokuro checkers, but I decided to put a new version up on YouTube that's uploading as I speak, and I thought I would do this commentary on both of them to kind of like point out the differences and what the heck happened, why there are two profiles for one character. But this is the opening one. I think I did this one about 2 or 3 years ago. I actually kind of prefer this one to the new one because of all the Lexi antics. You know how much I love my dog. I love my dog probably more than any human being should. Don't look too far into that. But anyways, but yeah, I like this one because it was a light-hearted approach, and I think Shirokuro is kind of a light-hearted character. Of course, with the new one, I couldn't do it in the same exact style, so I had to switch it up. So, you know, fans wouldn't get bored with it. Fans wouldn't, you know, think that they were watching the same profile over again. And so, I've beat around the bush long enough. You're probably wondering, well, a lot of you probably already know, why there are two different profiles for the same character. I don't really do this very often unless it's a remake, like if the first one was really crappy quality and I decided that the character deserved more. But this was not the case. I actually enjoyed this first go-around with checkers. I think it came out very well. But as good as I thought it was, a lot of viewers didn't really care for this profile for one major reason. And it was a big reason. In the manga, Checkers is a female, and I refer to Checkers multiple times within this profile as being a male. If you're not manga learned, you wouldn't really know that. In fact, to cover my own ass, I went back and I watched that anime, and I saw that in the anime he was referred to as a boy multiple times by Kasumi. So I'm kind of vindicated there. As you know, not being a reader of the manga, anybody would assume that Shirokuro was a male just by watching the anime. RANMA 1/2 is full of stuff like this. It had Tsubasa Kurenai, it had Konatsu, bunch of gender-bending characters that they don't want you to know that their true gender until later. So in that respect, this profile kinda works. But I'm kind of just dancing around the fact that I made a big boo-boo with this one. And I suppose next time I tackle a character like this, I should really go to Wikipedia or Ranma, web pages and do my research on them. But you know what? I'm not going to do that. That takes too much effort. I'm really lazy when it comes to that kind of stuff. Now, I've read the anime. I think it's swell. I think, especially the ones that the anime are based on, because they're so exact, they read out like a storyboard of sorts. But at heart, I am strictly a student of the anime and not the manga. So there's going to be a little bit of differences in between. Now, I feel like I can't go through one of these commentaries without mentioning my good friend Jara White, my cohort in JW Studios. He really took me to task for this profile. He was the first person to jump right out and say, hey, look, there's a big problem. Shirokuro is a girl, and maybe you might want to redo this one. Well, I thought about it, but you know what? It really would have required me to do all new audio for this, and that would have been, a bitch, because so much of it relied on Shirokuro's maleness. Especially one line where I say, he stood up against his brethren. I mean, how could you get any more male than that? But anyways, Jara and I did this interview a while back. It's up on his YouTube page. Check it out. Where, among other things, we talked about this profile, and I think out of the goodness of his heart, he didn't include that in the interview, but we still had the raw footage. So I decided to use that at the start of the next profile you're going to see. And in the interview, I say that, maybe I'll redo this someday. But really, it was the furthest thing in my mind. I didn't think I would ever redo this because, there were just so many projects on the, on the assembly line that I didn't think I would ever get to this. And I didn't think it was really that important. And one last thing, I really stand by this profile. I mean, even though it's incorrect, I really like how it came out because, it's very lighthearted, it's very cute, and of course, my dog gets in on the action. I didn't want to change it, I just wanted to let it stay as is. So, who'd have thunk it that I would end up doing the remake of this profile some 2 or 3 years later. And the funny thing is I look back on these old footages of my dog, and I can't believe just how filthy our apartment was. If you rewind, I don't know if there's any more clips of it, but if you rewind this commentary, at the beginning you see by my door, it's jet black, the rug. That's from the weather stripping on the bottom scraping up against it. It looks absolutely disgusting. I can't believe we lived in that squalor. But yeah, we upgraded. We live in a much better place now. It's just not very conducive to green screening, but that's a different story. Coming up are more choice shots of my dog Lexi, otherwise known as Piddlins. A lot of people, I would understand, do not care for my dog because a lot of times people are waiting for videos, new RANMA videos to come up, and they end up being new Lexi videos. But, I love my dog. I can't help it. Some people, like to see videos of dachshunds and cute things on the internet. They get a lot of hits, so I like to put them out there. Besides, how can you not love that face? Look how sweet. Yes, I love how her back paws just sink into like a compartment in her butt. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. There was a little bit of a problem at the end of this profile. A lot of times I like to do little voice samples and like slip them in later. And what happened here was I had them at the end of the profile and I forgot to erase them. I remember when putting this profile together, I kept naming the dog Shirokuro, not Shirokuro, and I had to go back in and cut and paste to fix those. And what happened was I left one of those audio bits at the end. So, sorry about that. I guess you could say that Shirokuro is a character that is riddled with curses for me. The beginning profile that I did had its share of problems, and this one that we're about to see definitely had its share of problems going into it. This is the brand new Shirokuro Checkers, or as I call it, Checkers Shirokuro, to differentiate it. This is me doing all these wacky zooms in the, like I said, in the style of a political smear campaign. And you might notice the black bars on the sides of the screen keep changing in size. That's because of the size of this recording. Like it went from being full screen to widescreen when I did the zooms. Like it would go off, like the screen would go into the black bar area. So what I had to do was I had to manually put those black bars in through a title screen. And so that's why you might see them change in size slightly, because that was all done by hand. Yeah, actually this part where you hear backwards talk, there are some subliminal messages in there. Nothing satanic or nothing, but maybe if there's some ultra fan out there who wants to take that excerpt and play it in reverse. There's a little bit of a message in there about what's going to happen to Djclyve following this profile. There was a funny little excerpt from that Jara White interview before that I really wanted to include in this profile, but I didn't get a chance to because it just made it too lengthy. There was a part where Jara asked me about the puppies that were in that scene. There's an extra rare footage of Shirokuro that actually shows her puppies in animation. They're doing a little dance, and I said, yeah, I saw that footage, but I just assumed that they were just like mice or rats or something. I didn't know that they were puppies. So that would have made me look really bad, and I would have I would have reveled in it. But unfortunately it made the profile too long, so I didn't go there. So while I've been yammering on and on and on about having to redo this profile, people are probably assuming by now that I just did it to correct the other one to make sure that, you know, it was proper reference material in people's eyes. But the truth of the matter is, I wouldn't have done this profile. I wouldn't have done this remake at all if it weren't for the special message that comes after the profile, the special subliminal message or hidden message, as you might call it, that announces that Ranma Saotome is coming soon. The countdown to oblivion begins again. I wanted to include that in the last profile, but the last profile was Setsuki Miyako Oji, and that one was a really long profile that had a lot of live action, and I didn't want to overdo it with the live action. I thought that putting the Onyx Binsbean short at the end of that would have just proved way too much, and people would have been saying, all right, where's all the Ranma 1/2 already? We're not here to tune into Djclyve, we want more Ranma. I understand that. People aren't here really to see me, they're here to see Ranma 1/2 and, you know, chronicles of their favorite characters. So that's exactly the reason why I did this, because I didn't want to overdo it with the live action on my last profile. But, you know, it's good to go back here. Definitely good. This is a character that kind of needed to be redone, whether I wanted to or not. And I thought it was kind of fun to take a new spin on the character rather than rehash the old profile all over again. I didn't want to include more pictures of Lexi because they had all been overdone. Plus, I don't really have that much footage. I would have to record more footage of Lexi, and that would take way too much time. Plus, all she does lately is sleep, so that wouldn't really be fun. As I said earlier, this profile has been riddled with problems, although putting this together was really, really easy. It took me less than a week start to finish to make this profile, which is crazy quick for me. But what followed and the hardship into making this commentary has been absolutely maddening. Pinnacle Studio 14 has struck again. The installation disk, if you can believe this, put a virus on my computer. I've never heard of anything like that. I always thought you got viruses online and going to like torrent sites and places you're not supposed to go. But yeah, I mean, I can't think of it any other way. The stupid installation disk gave me a virus. My Pinnacle Studio was running really, really slow, so I thought that I would try to repair it. And they give you the option when you go into Control Panel to, you know, to either change, repair, or uninstall. I chose repair. My installation disk was in there, and it picked something up from there. And whatever happened, now it is in a constant state of trying to install this thing, and it never really installed anything. So right now I have a rogue version of Pinnacle Studio 14 that is trying to install constantly as it's running alongside my Pinnacle programs. Now, this wouldn't be a problem. Well, it would be a problem. It's very annoying because you have to constantly click off of like pop-ups. But it wouldn't be a problem if it weren't for my Pinnacle all of a sudden crapping out on me. Just a couple of hours ago, the sound kicked out. Like, the sound just absolutely crapped out of my program. And when that happens, because it's happened to me before, you have to go onto you have to reinstall the program. And it won't let you reinstall it because there's constantly another version trying to upload, and when you click on uninstall, it says we cannot uninstall this program because there's another program identical already running. So it's an absolute... I'm at a loss for words. All I can say is that I'm sorry to be like un-PC about this, but Pinnacle Studio 14 can lick lamb balls and suck moose cock. I hate it. I don't ever want to use it again. I wish I didn't have to. A lot of times people ask me what software I use to make these movies. You don't want to know what software I use because I don't want to spread the word of this disease to other people. It's a horrible program. Never ever buy it. At this point, I mean, it's very user friendly. It's fun to make videos with it, but if you can learn to use anything else, please do, because I am ruining the day I ever saw this program. So I apologize to all the viewers, the two of you out there, who were expecting to see a commentary coinciding with the release of this video. But like I said, it's been a shit bitch to put this thing up, and I don't know what else to say. It's just been one hardship after another. I have a vacation from work. I expected to get a lot of work done on these things, and it's looking like this is really going to halt my progress. This happens to me every damn time, too. So it's really a nutsucker, and I'm going to keep coming up with these terms to describe it because it's that bad. I suppose I should take this time right now to describe what is coming up at the end of this profile, and that's the return to the Countdown to Oblivion, or the countdown to the last profiles that I'm going to be doing. And the character that I created called Onyx Binsbean, who is a bald version of myself. The character kept changing and changing. I guess he's kind of like a Grim Reaper type figure for Djclyve. As the end comes closer, we're going to be seeing more and more of him. The skin cap was very problematic, and funny story, actually, Onyx Binsbean was originally supposed to have a silver head, not a black head. But I found that the skin cap was easier to hide under black makeup, because the silver makeup would constantly like sweat off, and you'd see a ring of flesh-colored head around the skin cap. So I have an alternate version of the Onyx Binsbean scene with me with the silver head, and I went back after I edited it and I looked at it. I'm like, I can't use this. This is really stupid. It's not grandiose enough. You know, this is a big thing that's coming. This is the end of Ranma 1/2 character profiles. So I changed the character up. I added the blue screen in there. I had him floating in, you know, in that intestine-looking background. Because when I think of something scary, like I wanted it to be truly frightening, I think of all the nightmares I've ever had about me being trapped in hell. And to me, hell is viscera. It's having guts and organs all around you. To me, that's what I always dream hell is like. I don't know if I'm playing too much Dante's Inferno or what, but that's what I think of. But still, with the black makeup, you can see that there are large patches of skin that are still exposed. And that's because the lights that I had to light up the green screen were really, really hot. And even though I did this on a winter's day and I turned off all the heat in my house, it was still blaring hot. And I was doing a lot of physical comedy, I guess you could call it, jumping around that TV like that. And I was really sweating my buttocks off in that costume, because there's really no room for air to come through. My neck kept getting loose from the bodysuit, so what you see, I put black electrical tape around my neck to keep that thing on, and to keep my my neck from, you know, getting exposed there, because there was a lot of exposed flesh there. But as you can see right there, you can see my flesh. You might notice as I tap the screen reacts to me. See, it shakes. What I was doing was the screen was actually giving me instructions. Like I recorded my voice and it was constantly talking to me during this whole thing. Right now it was saying, okay, shake me, shake me, shake me, shake me, let me go, put me down. It was giving me instructions the whole time, so I knew exactly what to do. And that was my second take, if I remember right, that made it into the profile. And I didn't have quite the energy that I did, because after that first take, you're jumping all over the place, you're exhausted, you're sweating your rear end off under these lights. I wish I could have done that better looking back at it. I could do more physicality than that. But it's gonna have to stay. Beggars can't be choosers, I guess, and Onyx will have another day. So that's it for the Shirokuro profile. This is me coming to you from Avid Studio, because Pinnacle Studio 14 crapped out on me in the middle of this commentary. So this was a really tough commentary to bring to yous. I hope you enjoy it. And next time I see ya, who knows when I'll see ya, because like I said, I don't have too many projects left on the drawing board, if I have any projects besides Ranma Saotome himself. So I'll see you on the flip side, and hopefully everything goes well for Djclyve, because there's a few premonitions out there that looks like I might not make it, but we'll see. Life is Ranma, guys, and toodaloo.